Hi, welcome to my channel. Laura Crapo. I was just I did a bunch of videos like months ago, and I don't know if YouTube changed their setup, but everything was like instead of just going live, it was like made to schedule, but then the schedule was like before. Anyway, it was just like ridiculous. So I had to erase uh, like 5 videos that I guess were never taped, but it's I felt like anyway, starting fresh, I'd asked a bunch of questions to the computer, and maybe this is working. I hope so. Let me know if any subscribers are watching. Just go like, yes, it's working. I can see you. Anyhow, like I see the word live, so let's just hope it's working. So I'm gonna do a video on the actor Chris Pratt, who I think he looks like one of my cousins. I don't really know much about him. I know he's in like major motion pictures that involve like running and police work or something like that, action or something. But anyhow, I'm gonna tune in to his energy and give you a reading on Chris Pratt. So, I mean, the first thing I pick up is him having like a really great view of like the sky and like I mean, most people have a view of the sky, but like it feels like a really nice view. It feels very open and like private and stuff. It feels like he has like a really specific area in which he chooses to work. Like it's like a fine line, as it were, but it feels kind of bright, like a bright fine line that's ascending. So like maybe he's made the choice not to, you know, be in like very artistic, low budget projects or anything. Like it feels like very specific, which is probably, whatever. I'm just getting warmed up here, like stating the obvious perhaps, but I'm not, I don't know everything about him. So, um, there does feel like something like domestic that's like, like a bit of a rock in his shoe. I'm just gonna look at that. It feels like he's very purposeful about how he lives his life and what certain stresses he'll entertain and certain things he doesn't, like a regimented kind of person. So if something's going on with someone close to him, like let's say they're going through some turmoil, I think he's able to like compartmentalize. It's kind of like, look, you're an adult, you deal with it. Like I've done my part in creating like a home atmosphere that's comfortable and groceries and like cleaning services, whatever. Like you're an adult, like there are people you can go to for that. He's not like he's not someone who's gonna curl up on the couch with you and put his hands like this and like say like tell me everything. I feel like um because he's so disciplined that like stuff like that he he doesn't want to like entertain like negative energy, I feel like. But nonetheless, there's someone in his like close contact that like has like a bunch of issues that are troublesome. um that might have wanted to have a conversation with him or like help, direct help. whether he's away working or he just doesn't see that as his wheelhouse, like, this person that's close to him, I don't know if they're capable of finding that, either they like their privacy or they don't like asking for help from outsiders, like, which is privacy, but, like, or maybe it's something they're not used to happening in their life, like, whether it's an adolescent going through it or, like, you know, how people go through various challenges in their lives that are like, "Surprise, you know, you're a teenager now," or like, "Surprise, this is more difficult than you thought," you know, so I feel like the person who's close to him needs some sort of mentor and isn't asking for it, or maybe Chris is like so intent on keeping the vibes high that like he's missing an opportunity to vibe high with this person that's close to him. And like it might be I feel like the what would be good is if Chris Pratt like got was open to hearing this person out, and it feels like a girl. I don't know, maybe I don't know if he has children or if he has a girl child. Like sometimes if he is a parent, like sometimes it's nice for a daughter to talk to her father about something, and maybe he was not available, or anyway, it just feels like it's like get to it, like talking to this person. Because even as I'm talking about it, the energy seems to be clearing a bit. Um, anyway, I hope things work out there because it does feel intense. Like feels like it feels like the bubble's gonna burst if the pressure continues. So I hope things work out there. Okay. What else do I see? Chris Pratt. There seems like there's a role that like involves a lot of like research, and maybe he's doing like, you know how like Kubrick does a lot of research, and it's not just a simple project. So it feels like that where maybe Chris Pratt isn't quite used to going this deep with a character research, but it's like essential. Otherwise, the movie won't be good, and you can't like shortcut this one. So he might not be like considered like an academic type of person, but he's got to like whatever hit the books as it were to make this proper. So I don't know if he has like a director who's very like I'm like sitting next to a heater, but then the computer's getting warm too, which is not good. So I'm gonna move some spots. Don't overheat. Okay, so um right, so perhaps this director that he's working with demands a lot of care and like really getting out of who you are to become this person, however people do that. Got a little Marlon Brando immersion kind of stuff. Um, and it might involve like going to another country where there's another language spoken that he doesn't speak, and it's just like more than he was ready for. Okay, what else? Chris Pratt. There's something about an animal, like he's worried, concerned about an animal or a pet. Like I guess if he's away for a time, like he might miss his pet, or you know, um, feels like something like that where it's like uh, either that or there's like a health issue. I feel like he has more than one pet, like, there's, like, a smaller one and a bigger one, and, like, it's, like, they're both of concern to him, but it feels like the bigger one has, like, a concern. Okay, um, I feel like he's also thinking about his finances and, like, where to invest. Of course, like, right now in the States, like, everything's topsy-turvy, so, like, that's probably everybody's thinking about that. He's trying to figure out how to structure everything so that he's safe for the long term. Cause like, who knows? I guess, like, people people say I don't know a lot of people right now, but, like, people word on the street or whatever is that, like, Hollywood is kinda losing its grasp on people's attention. So, cause anyone can make a film now, and, so I think, like, with the general climate, like, of the types of pictures he's involved in, like, he just wants to make sure, like, things are stable for, like, decades. So he's looking into how to structure that. I feel like he okay, I'm getting another person who, like, wants more contact with him, but, like, they're in his life, but it's like I feel like he has very strong boundaries in terms of, like, when you can talk to me about what, and, but he wants people to appreciate the fact that he made, like, a nice home setup for everybody where technically there are no problems, and, maybe the people that are close to him, if they can kinda, like, figure out ways to honor his boundaries and also try to solve their problems and not have, like, this sort of old-fashioned, Little House on the Prairie, the parents talking in bed at night about what happened that day or what I don't know. It's kinda like it's like Cristiano Ronaldo or something where, he has his own schedule or, like, he'll work out for 45 minutes, then take a nap, and then have an ice bath, and then have a nap or I would think that, like, he would have his own room or to sleep or whatever, right? So, it wouldn't be typical. So maybe for Chris Pratt, he has, like, a atypical sleeping setup or, like, "Don't disturb me" setup. It doesn't mean he's a bad person, it's just that, like, he's found, a way to organize his life to be, like, a high functioning person. Okay, what else? It sounded like someone was on the balcony, so I'm, like, a little distracted, but I'll just keep going, whatever. Um, okay, Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt. I feel like he really likes seafood. I don't know if he's a vegetarian or whatever, but, like, he's really obviously into healthy food, and if he's, like, a high functioning adult or whatever, I'm getting some fresh seafood vibes, maybe fresh to the point of sushi. I don't know, like, um, okay, what else? Chris Pratt. Does he, like, know how to fly a plane? I'm getting, like, uh, he likes being up with this guy in, like, a let's say he doesn't have his pilot license. If he has a friend who's, like, a trained fighter pilot or something, he probably likes to go flying with them. That's what I feel like. like recreationally. Um, like if he has a preference, I feel like he's like more into planes than cars. If that makes sense. I'm sure if people can afford a nice car, they have one, but like if you had to choose, if you could only have one, um, okay. I don't know, like, I've never, like, looked at someone's energy who feels like their life is, like, so clean and orderly to the point where it's, like, too much, where people he loves can't quite have, like, total access to him. But, like, good for him for being so rigorous with his, life and stuff. Okay, I'll just look at one more area. We could see there's one, like, super bright area, I'll look at that for a second. Get chills. Let's say he has, like, a deep spiritual practice. I feel like he's able to access, like, really nice energy from that, t to put it lightly, and, um, it feels like he spends, like, a good third of his life kinda in that space, so if he seems peaceful, perhaps that's why, like, um, I don't know, I've never I've never tapped into someone who's so high functioning, like, I did a Christiana reading, and it didn't feel like this. It's almost, like, contagiously that energy is, like, uh, affecting me, like, so it's very strong, like, whatever kind of prayer work or something he does, highly effective. So, well, I don't know, should I end it there? Like, let me just see. I just wanna find, like, a problem to solve. Um, what is that? Yeah, I would just end it with, like, I would encourage him to not assume that his loved ones and his close ones are just doing just great, just to, like, if he had let's say he has a staff of nannies and whatever, like, who are great and everything is great, but there's certain things that, like, if he's a dad, like a father or a husband or a boyfriend, has to do himself that makes it, like, a legit relationship bond and stuff. Like, I know for example, like, my dad was had, um, nanny, like, whatever, like a tutor, like, a lot of other, like, kind of staff kind of situation where the parents, like, it's back in the 30s, so different rules, different times. But, so he didn't have as much contact with his parents, and it was more like dinner, like meal times and stuff. So as a result, while he still had care, quote unquote, it kind of messed him up relationship wise in some ways. I felt like, and um, and he always had kind of like issues. So I would imagine like if you just let nannies and wonderful people that you've hired like do everything, like it does create a sort of a distance that and that a father or a husband or boyfriend like needs to fulfill those roles. And yeah, so that's my Chris Pratt reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it actually aired unlike my last 5 or 6 videos. But, anyway, if anybody subscribes, thank you very much. It'd be great to get to 1,000 subscribers or above so it can be monetized and create some kinda, like, awesomeness for all concerned. And, my information's in the thing. I don't know if my website's on there, but it's lauracrapo.com, and there's a bunch of the different various activities in life, including healing, distance healing and stuff. If you're interested in a session for yourself or a loved one, don't hesitate to contact me. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and you can also email me a request for someone you want me to cover. Happy to do so. Since I live under a rock, I'm not really aware of who's doing what. I just like Googled who are some spiritual famous people. Like, so I thought I'd focus on them. And Chris Pratt turns out to be very spiritual in his energy too. So I hope you enjoyed this. Bye bye.